Hello there, Lost Woods Draft League people. I'm Jake. I don't know how regularly I'm gonna do like content stuff. I'm not a content person, but I wanted to get my thoughts out on the draft. Um, and I like speaking a lot more than I like typing. Um, I feel like I can get my energy out, I can get my thoughts down way better. And I didn't just want to send an audio message, I wanted to have some fun, give some visual. Um, so I figured what better way than to just record a quick little this. Um, Maybe get to know my personality a bit if you don't know me so well. So again, hi, I'm Jake. Um, what I really wanted to talk about is this is my first VGC draft league, but I've been playing VGC for over a decade and competitive Pokemon for over 15 years. Um, so seeing some of the picks here um, were very surprising to me. Rather, not necessarily the picks, but what wasn't picked. Um, so I want to go over that. I'm not going to be judging anyone's teams or saying like, oh, this should have been picked here or this team doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm not team reviewing. I am going to go over the draft board and anything that's not grayed out. I'm going to look at it. Not everything. I'm going to look at some of these and say, why was this not drafted? Um, I may also say, why was this drafted? So without further ado, I'm going to get rid of my stupid face because I don't want it here for too long. Um, and yeah, let's get right into it. Let me zoom in so you guys can see a bit better. Um, so first off is the 19s. Not surprised any of these went. I think all of them are worth picking. No objections there. Um, Iron Bundle I'm a bit surprised about. I think it's very unimpressive in what it can do. Like, it's booster, it's encore, it's water move, it's freeze dry, it's icy wind. It really doesn't have a lot of flexibility. Um, Let me real quick just open up Showdown, go to the team builder. I'm not afraid of showing anything there. I don't actively compete anymore. And look at Iron Bundle. The first thing I like to do when looking at these Pokemon is look at status and see, oh, is there something I don't know? Um, it can set Electric Terrain, it gets Taunt and Encore, which are both very cool. Fast Taunt and Encore are very good. It gets Aurora Veil, but, I mean, you need to have Snow up for that. Gets Helping Hand, I think, like, everything does now, from what I've seen. But, like, physically, it's not going to use any of this because of its stat. But physically, really all it has going for it is U-turn or flip turn if it doesn't want to get water absorbed or, you know, or if it wants to hit something with U-turn to super effective proc weakness policy. Especially, like, this is what I don't like. You have Hydro Pump, you have Icy Wind, you have Freeze Dry. I just don't think Iron Bundle is worth this much with how little it can do. I think draft really revolves around how flexible Pokemon are. So let's go back. So that's the first thing I'm shocked that got drafted, honestly, is Tatsugiri, shocked that this didn't get drafted. Obviously, only one person can really draft it. Let me adjust my volume. I just realized how loud that is. Sorry if I'm blowing your eardrums out. If I'm too quiet now, I mean, too late to know, but whatever. Um, Surprised that the person who got Dozo didn't take this. Who got Dozo? Was it, yeah, Oxygen. Oxygen's real name. I should know this. I should be a good member of the league and know people's names. Oxygen, yeah, Ronald. Okay, cool. So Ronald did not pick up Tatsu. Not sure why. Maybe because it's easier to prep for, because you know you need haze or clear smog or something. But I think not bringing it means, or not getting it means no one will ever have to prep into that, right? They never have to tack anything onto their team, and that's kind of a bummer. Um, Next anything go that I was surprised with? Both Enamoruses. I mean, Flying Fairy's really good. It's just, Yeah, I guess undrafted's a lot better. Um, all good, all good, all good. Hisuian Gudra, kind of surprised it didn't go. I think it has a lot of moves. It has one of the best typings in the game. Like, you have to prep for this thing for so many sets, right? Um, so really surprised that one didn't go. Palafin, I feel like is similar to Iron Bundle. Uh, maybe not as similar because it does get a plethora of moves. It's just that its water moves are so strong. Um, Regidrago, I mean, yes, I think it has this. I'm not going to call it Iron Bundle syndrome. It doesn't have a lot it can do, but what it does really, really well. Similarly to Iron Bundle, but I think Regidrago just hits really hard. Regieleki is much more versatile. It can be speed control, it can be screens, it can do a lot of silly things. Roaring Moon, yeah. Smeargle, I'm not too surprised it didn't go. I think 17 points for a Pokemon this quote-unquote weak. Uh, while it can do anything, you can find a Pokemon or multiple Pokemon to fill its role that you don't necessarily need to compartmentalize or, compartmentalize? Yeah, I guess that's the right word. Compartmentalize into just Smeargle. Spectrier, Solidmon, Volk, that's mine. Talonflame, yeah, all fine. Armarouge, at 16, not surprised. There's better Psy Spam, there's better fire types. It can set Trick Room, that's one thing it has going for it, but a lot of things can. Glastrier, I'm honestly shocked Glastrier went for 16. I think this Pokemon only could function in Dynamax. It needs Trick Room to get off the ground. It needs to get KOs immediately to start doing its like big damage. Um, but like in Dynamax, we saw Heavy Slam and High Horsepower giving you Max Quake and Max Steel Spike, getting you so much bulk. Um, and also Max Hailstorm giving you a much stronger ice move that can't miss. Glastrier really doesn't have that anymore. It just doesn't have what it needs. So kind of surprised by Glastrier. Gothitelle, yep. Not surprised by Hisuian Lilligant not going. This Pokemon is not great. It's inconsistent. Either you're running Chlorophyll, or you're Hustle, and you're sad because you're missing 80% of the time. Okay. The first Pokemon I'm genuinely shocked did not go is Hydreigon. This is a whole Swiss Army knife of a Pokemon. First of all, Levitate as an ability, I mean, yes, it's not like helping it out, but with Terra, it makes it such a nightmare to deal with Hydreigon. You can run Terra Poison, you can run Terra Steel, you can run Terra Fire and not deal with the ground weakness. On top of that, this Pokemon gets so many moves, and I mean, it's a pseudo legendary. It has so many stats, right? 98 speed is above average, like solid, and then it has 125 special attack. Like, oh, this thing's a nightmare. Like, all right, let's look at the status moves again. That's what I like to look at. You can run a Dragon Dance set. I'm not saying you should, but you can. You can run a Nasty Plot set. Maybe you should. You can run Tailwind. You can run Taunt. Like, being able to Tailwind is so valuable, right? I'm not saying like you need to use all these status moves, but it has so many options. And then let's like look at its move pool, right? Dark Pulse, Draco Meteor, Earth Power, Fire Blast, Flash Cannon, Focus Blast, Hydro Pump, Hyper Voice. Not saying all of these are going to get used. Snarl. It can use so many moves. And physically, which again, it could use if it wanted, U-Turn is a big one. It gets access to Head Smash, like Dual Wing Beat, Acrobatics. It has so many moves that someone would have to prep for. Breaking Swipe's a good shout. I think if anyone was thinking of picking up Hydreigon and didn't, you should have. I very much considered it, but I opted for a different Dragon type on my team twice. So I'm happy. Illumise, not super. I mean, I think Illumise went and then got sold back. Not too surprised. Like, obviously they're good pranksters and prankster tailwinders, but outside of that, they don't fill much of a role. Not surprised by any of this. I think Moustick Male's a little slept on. It's kind of like Mini Grimmsnarl in that it can fake out and screens, but and Thunderwave. But it gets a few other moves that are really nice, and Psychic is a solid defensive typing. Like, it's not the worst, it's not the best. But it's a good discount Grimmsnarl. I very much considered Meowstic. I love Meowstic. Murkrow, I think it's up there with Illumise and Volbeat of just like kind of not doing much, but the benefit is that it does have Haze. It can be kind of an anti-bogus Mon, as well as having Foul Play, so you don't need a real stat with it. The rest of these are solid. Screamtail, I mean, not my favorite Pokemon, but I know it's beloved by many, and it has a lot of variability. Like I said, it's very variable in what it can do as a support Pokemon. 15s, not surprised to see any of these. Galarian Moltres, am I surprised to not see it go? Not really. It's a solid Dark attacker. Dark Flying is a really good typing, but not surprised that people opted for different things. Lilligant, same issue as Hisuian Lilligant, except it's just bad. Mimikyu, I considered Mimikyu. I'm a little surprised it didn't go, because I know a lot of people love Mimikyu, but it just doesn't have a ton of stats, and while it does have variability, like, it just doesn't have the stats, in my opinion, to justify 15 points on it. Okidogi, this thing's only good for Guard Dog, and people in Draft League aren't going to let you get off Guard Dog. Otherwise, Okidogi sucks. And so for 15, it sucks. Registeel, not shocked. I don't think the Rotoms have enough variability. Like, they have good move pools and solid stats, but overall, just in draft, especially with what we have nowadays. Sableye, another solid prankster, but one that doesn't do as much as a lot of the others. Skeledirge? It's Skeledirge. It gets Unaware, that's really good. It gets Recovery, that's really good. But, like, overall, it's not very fast. It's not bulky enough, I don't think. Not super shocked to see this one still here. Terrakion. This is a Pokemon I am surprised to see here. Rock and Fighting are ridiculous typing. 108 speed is really fast, and having Justified, where there's so many Pokemon on here that can beat up, you know, let's just look at the things that can outspeed Terrakion and beat up. Weavile, Whimsicott, Ambipom, Sneasel, Mousehold, not Pheasantipity. So these are the ones that outspeed it with also having Jolly Terrakion or a speed boosting nature. But there are others that can outspeed it if you let them. You know, Pheasantipity, Houndoom, Primate, Annihilate. Or you can Scarf something, right? You could Scarf your whatever. I am surprised to not see Terrakion there. Even if you're not setting it up with Justified, like, Rock Fighting's just disgusting. This Pokemon is a menace. Tornadus Therian, not surprised to see it here. I don't think it's very good. Wo-Chien, same thing. Araquanid or Araquanid, however you want to say it, not super surprised. It's one of those Pokemon that either hits with a water move or does nothing. Azelf, Azelf came up late. I noticed on day 2 that the Pixies, as I call them, and I know some other people call them the Lake Trio, were not here. I was looking at it because I was looking at Trick Room users to see if I wanted one for my team, and I was like, you know, Uxie's probably a good discount pick. Where is it? And it wasn't there. But they finally got rated. Azelf, Mesprit, and Uxie. A little surprised to see all of them here. You know, I didn't expect them all to go, but I expected one of them to. Azelf can hit like a truck with so many different moves. It has disgusting amounts of coverage. Mesprit, probably the worst of them. I think this should have been lower. I think all of them should have been a bit lower. Maybe Azelf up here. Mesprit could have fallen way back, because it's like the middle ground between these two and doesn't do anything well. Uxie is a great alternative to Cresselia. If you've never looked at Uxie, it gets, you know, it still gets Trick Room. It's a Psychic Levitate Mon with less HP, about the same defenses, overall faster. So again, alternative. It gets a few things that Cresselia doesn't, and we can look at those now. It gets Encore, which I'm pretty sure Cresselia does not get. It can set up with Nasty Plot if you really want. The other big one, where's Yawn? Does it still get Yawn? Yeah, Yawn is a very funny one. Yawn is a very funny move, and Uxie gets it and Cresselia doesn't. So this is a Pokemon that I think deserved a bit. I mean, it doesn't really have great recovery like Cresselia does, but it can do stuff. It can also imprison its Trick Room. That's really cool. I think Uxie deserved a spot on someone's team. Uh, as Elf, all the same. Azumarill. Water and Fairy is one of the best typings in the game. Azumarill, huge power, is really strong, and it has versatility. Um, Azumarill has more moves than you may think, and also it can also run like Sap Sipper, Whirlpool, Perish Song. And I know not a lot of people want to run that, but it can. Um, so obviously we know it gets Belly Drum and Aqua Jet, but on top of that, it gets Ice Spinner, it gets Trailblaze apparently, Knockoff, Superpower. It gets more moves than you'd think, and it can use them very well. You know, it can run an Assault Vest set, it can run a Choice Band set, it can run the Belly Drum set if you have Redirection and just go Aqua Jetting. As for status moves, like, I don't think any of them were really great on this guy. But yeah, I think Azumarill, I'm a bit surprised to see it not go, given that it can cause so much havoc if set up correctly. Basculation Female, not too shocked. It's just worse Basculation Male, but for 3 less points, I mean, it could have gone somewhere. Bronzong, surprised. This thing has a very good typing, a very good ability, 2 very good abilities for its typing, a lot of bulk and a lot of options in terms of support, as well as damage with Gyro Ball and Iron Defense Body Press. Moving past that. Cerulege. Okay. I mean, Cerulege is a personal favorite of mine, not a fan favorite. I mean, it is that too. But I think setup plus Bitter Blade, where you just have a move that's restoring your HP, doing so much damage, and you're setting up, like, Cerulege is really good. Can't get faked out, and it can Terra to a better type and just maintain Flash Fire, or you can run that stupid weak armor set with Weakness Policy and just get Cerulege going crazy, right? Like, imagine whoever drafted Iron Bundle with Cerulege, and either you flip turn yourself or you U-turn yourself and Terra to grass, and now Cerulege is going nuts. I think Cerulege deserved a spot. Empoleon. I think Empoleon is bad. I think competitive is really good. I think a water type that does not resist fire is pretty bad. And I think Empoleon gets no good water moves, and it just doesn't overall get... It's not strong. It's just not strong. If it doesn't get, like, competitive boosted, it's not strong. Excadrill, this is one of the better typings in the game. I'm going to look to Iron Tread's not getting drafted. I don't think Iron Tread's stats are good enough. It just doesn't hit very hard. And while it is faster than Excadrill, it just doesn't hit hard enough, and it genuinely doesn't have an ability. Excadrill does, and it hits harder. It's a bit slower, quite a bit slower, but Excadrill has abilities, and you can abuse them. I mean, nobody picked Hippowdon, nobody picked Tyranitar. No, someone did pick Tyranitar, finally. So no, Excadrill, that's funny to me. I think Excadrill just needs to be a strong attacker. Pheasantipity. I personally don't like Pheasantipity that much. Its typing is unique in Fairy and Poison, and it does get a good amount of Pheasantipity. It gets a good amount of support options. I believe it gets Tailwind, it gets Icy Wind. Let's see what other status moves it gets. It gets Light Screen apparently. It can Roost. It can do a lot of things. This Pokemon has quite a few things, and while its stats aren't great or even good, I do think it has a spot somewhere. Maybe not on one of these teams, but I think it's worth a look. Gardevoir was originally drafted and then undrafted by Chris. I'm not a big fan of Gardevoir. I'm just not. It can do a bunch of silly things, but overall, I think its power level just isn't strong enough to keep up in 2025. Garganacl. This Pokemon is a one Pokemon win condition. Not drafting it is criminal. I say that, but I didn't draft it. I don't think it fit my team that well. But, like, we all know what Garganacl does. It does the Salt Cure stupid stuff. But it also gets Wide Guard. It also gets Wide Guard. I don't think it gets a lot of other things, but it gets Wide Guard. And I think that that and the fact that it can just win games all by itself is worth it. Greninja, not worth 14 points. Kilowattrel's really fast and gets tailwind and gets competitive. Surprised to not see it go. I was talking to a few people who I said I think you should get Kilowattrel and they didn't, so oh well. Mienshao, it's good. Mienshao's just overall good. Not surprised to see it here, undrafted, but a little bit surprised to see it not drafted when Inner Focus and Fake Out are generally just so good. Like, we've seen Mienshao really shine in restricted formats, and we've seen it even recently. I know Big Tone was using it. I think June might have been using it with him. But Mienshao just should be on a team. It has a lot of options. Offensive, support, melodic. This is a crime. Melodic not being drafted is a crime. It is one of the few Pokemon that still gets a good water move in Muddy Water. It gets a good amount of coverage. It gets Icy Wind. It's one of the few Pokemon that gets Scald. I forgot it gets Scald. Oh my god. It gets Scald. It gets, I don't know about Draining Kiss, but like, ugh. And on top of that, it gets Recover. Like, Recover is so good. Coil. You newbies might be like, why would you use Coil? Milotic's not offensive. Bing, bang, boom. You want to get your defense up. You want to support the team. And then you run Hypnosis with it. You Coil once, and you're, like, hitting all your Hypnosises. This Pokemon's stupid. It gets Imprisoned. It gets Life Dew. Oh, Melodic. And then it gets just competitive. It gets competitive. Competitive so good. I know not everyone's going to have Intimidate, but they might have Snarl. They might have Icy Wind. Like, Melodic makes you not want to bring that. Melodic should be drafted. Regigigas, Regirock, Reuniclus. Yeah, 14 points. None of these are worth it. Comfey, one of the few Pokemon that gets Tailwind and Trick Room, probably should have been on a team. Dusclops, it does one thing. It does it well, but I don't think it was worth it. Grafaiai's awful. Hisuian Zoroark, with it being a fan favorite and being able to hit so hard and being such a tricksy little Pokemon, I think this definitely should have been drafted. I'm not going to go over it. Iron Leaves, I think, is bad. Mamoswine, I think, is really good. It's a World Champ Pokemon. Can't be intimidated. And, like, Ice and Ground are just good, especially when you have Terra, to get rid of that defensive shittiness. Respiter, I already talked about. Mudsdale. Come on. Mudsdale is a Pokemon that gets two really dumb abilities. Stamina and Inner Focus. So it can't flinch or get intimidated, or every time you hit it, it gets a defense boost. And it gets Body Press, and it gets high horsepower. Like, Mudsdale's gross. It's so good. If you support Mudsdale, this thing becomes unkillable. It can run Assault Vest sets. It can run Iron Defense sets. It can run so many different things. Does it get Swords Dance? I don't think so. Otherwise, I would have probably seen it at some point. But either way, you could, like, go with coaching on this thing. I think this is a missed opportunity Pokemon. Oranguru, another missed opportunity Pokemon. Can't get faked out, gets Trick Room, and can use Instruct. I mean, I don't know if anyone really drafted heavy around Trick Room. Let me take a peek. Doxy kind of did. But they have enough Trick Roomers such that Oranguru may not have made too much sense. Yeah. Alec might have wanted it. Alec might have wanted it. Might have. Not sure. Pincurchin, we all know why 10-13. It gets a terrain, but otherwise it's terrible. Porygon Z hits like absolute ridiculous, and with Terra, it's such an unpredictable Pokemon with adaptability. Definitely should have gone. Quaquaval, not that great. Raikou is a Pokemon that definitely should have went. I think people are sleeping on Raikou quite a bit. And yes, I'm saying Raikou. It is pronounced Raikou, not Raikou. Gets Inner Focus, so it can't flinch. But this is a Pokemon that can run a good number of sets. I'm not going to lean into the physical because it shouldn't be. Yeah, it gets Extreme Speed, whatever. Let's quickly look at its status moves. It gets both screens, I'm pretty sure. It gets Reflect and Light Screen, and is 115 speed, cannot flinch. So it's going to be getting those off. It can Thunder Wave, it can Eerie Impulse, it can set Electric Terrain if you're afraid of sleep, it can Howl as a supporter, it can set any of these three weathers. It also gets Calm Mind, which is a very good setup. 90, 75, 100 are decent defensive stats. If you want to pump up this defense, go for it. You're a pure electric type. You're only weak to ground. Give yourself a Terra, like Grass. Wow. Now you don't care. And then, what are your moves? You might think, oh, it probably only gets electric moves. These stupid electric Pokemon only get electric moves. I typed status because I'm a dummy. No, they gave it Aura Sphere, they gave it Extrasensory. This gen gave it Scald. Why'd they give it Scald? Has Shadow Ball, obviously it has Terra Blast. It can Volt Switch, it has Weather Ball now, it has Electro Web for support. This Pokemon has a lot going for it. And I think it was another missed opportunity Pokemon. That's why I wanted to talk. Scrafty! Oh, these are like the two Pokemon back-to-back that made me want to make this video. Scrafty is the truth. Scrafty is a Pokemon that I know I used quite a bit back in 2015. Intimidate and Fake Out. I will preach Intimidate and Fake Out till the end of time. If you can cycle this, you're in a really good spot. It gets Knockoff. We all know how key that is. It gets Super Fang. 50% of your HP gone. I don't even need to invest in my attack stat, right? It gets Drain Punch if you don't want to get KO'd. It can run close combat if you want to get KOs. Physically, like, it gets a lot of solid moves. Oh, wow. Like, oh my god, what? What? It gets so many moves. And you're probably thinking, oh, but, like, you shouldn't really... No, dummy. It also gets Dragon Dance. It's not fast, but you can outspeed some things with Dragon Dance. I'm going to switch this to level 50s, by the way. Hopefully this still has all the Pokemon. Like, let's take a look. If I max out this speed stat, 121, so you're hitting 180 something, which is what? Like, base 115s you're going to outspeed? Or base 111? You're going to outspeed base 111. Like, Mousehold? I'm pretty sure caps out at, like, 179. Yeah, you're going to be able to outspeed Mousehold, which is one of the fastest Pokemon in here. Like, you're fine. Set up one Dragon Dance, and you are a menace. And you have Moxie. What? Scrafty deserved to draft. Slitherwing went drafted and then got sold back. I talked to Ivan about that. I don't think Slitherwing's that good. I think it has some coverage options, but overall it's not worth 13 points. Swampert, I could take it or leave it. Weezing, you gotta build a team with it, right? Cinderace, I don't think it's that great. Without Dynamax, it doesn't have much. Like, yeah, it can get stab on anything, but okay. Dragalge, too slow, doesn't hit hard enough even with adaptability, and if you're not adaptabilitying, you're not hitting hard enough, and you just don't have the coverage with Dragalagle. Galarian Slowbro, Galarian Slowking went, so it's just a matter of preference on special defense or defense. And then if you want Shell Sidearm or, Curious Medicine, or the bigger one is Chilly Reception. So Galarian Slowking definitely deserved a slot. Goodra, I'm a big fan of Goodra. It gets a lot of moves, but it can't hit very hard. I'm a bit surprised to see it not go. Yeah. Hawlucha, a Pokemon that really likes to abuse terrain. So, of the people who got terrain, myself and the two Indeedee players, like, Hawlucha's just not that good. Hippowdon, if someone wanted to abuse sand, it's definitely a discount pick. And it's really bulky and can do a big amount of damage. I'm surprised no one really wanted to build around sand, but hey. Infernape is, oh my god, it's a jack-of-all-trades Pokemon, yeah. It's kind of fallen off since, I started in Gen 4, because 104 attacking stats just aren't enough, and 108 isn't the speed it used to be. But I'll be damned if this Pokemon doesn't have a toolkit, right? It can Fake Out. Can it Feint? It can Feint. It gets so many different moves on the physical side. And then you're probably thinking, oh, well, Jake, does it get any moves on the special side? You betcha. It gets Aura Sphere, it gets Flamethrower, and Heat Wave, and Grass Knot, and Scorching Sands, and obviously Terra Blast. Like, it can run things. It gets Vacuum Wave, and Mach Punch. Which priority am I hitting off of? Physical or special? I'll never tell. And then status moves, like, it gets Coaching, it gets Bulk Up, it gets Calm Mind, it also gets Nasty Plot, and Swords Dance. You can set this thing up however you want to. And you could run, like, a Scarf set with Switcheroo. It obviously gets your, it gets Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, it gets some of those... It got Encore? It has so many funny little things it can do. This is a world's top 8 Pokemon. Justin Karras brought it to top 8 in 2016. Pokemon that definitely deserved to be drafted. Iron Thorns, this mon sucks. Crocodile, this is the world champ. Intimidate, ground, and dark. Like, it can hit really hard. It can intimidate. Good mon, should have been drafted. Magmortar, I think Follow Me is ultimately one of the best moves in the game, up there with Protect and Fake Out, and every team should have Redirection. Let's see real quick, does any team not have Redirection? Pachirisu. Sinistcha. Amoonguss. Ogerpon. Ogerpon, Indeedee. Jumpluff. Clefable, and Volcarona. Ogerpon. Cheese Boy has no redirection. Yeah. Having no redirection is bad. You should have redirection. Toedscool, Electivire, Magmar, Mousehold, and wait, no, not that indeed. Electabuzz and Ogerpon. There's one team without redirection, and I think that will show its head at some point. Heatran could have been Magmortar. Magmortar could have been Rhyperior, I think. Like, obviously not the same types, but in terms of price, I don't know where Rhyperior is. It's above it. Every team should have redirection. And on top of that, Follow Me is always going to be better than Rage Powder, because if people don't want themselves to be redirected, they can go Terra Grass, and they can go Safety Goggles. So having Follow Me is invaluable. Magmortar 100% should have gone as one of the only Follow Me users left. I don't think the same about Furret. Sorry, I'm just going to jump to it. I don't think the same about Furret. I don't think Furret could do a whole lot. It kind of is like... Let me compare it to Pachirisu real quick. Like, the weak Follow Me user versus the weaker Follow Me user. Like, okay, it has comparable physical bulk. Better, I would say, because of its HP. But its special defense is much lower. Pachirisu does have that special defense going for it. Do you get Super Fang? You get Super Fang, like... But it doesn't get a lot of the other silly little things that Pachirisu does, like Nuzzle, Super Fang, a fast Encore. I don't think you get Encore. Yeah. For it, not as good. Good value pick. Maybe should have went, but I definitely don't think it's like a crime that it didn't go. Moving on. Raichu. On the right team, it would have been good. Not surprised it didn't go. Rotom, I already talked about those. Slacking, this mon is ass. Slowbro and Slowking, honestly surprised these didn't go. Bulky water types that can regenerate and Trick Room are really, really strong. We saw Galarian Slowking go, but Water Psychic is always going to be better than Poison Psychic. Staraptor, another crime that it didn't go. Big Intimidate user, big Reckless hitter, can cycle with U-turn, fast, hits hard, strong mon. Should have gone. Already talked about Uxie. Arboliva, one of the only terrain setters left, but not one you can really pick and choose when it sets terrain. Not surprised it didn't go. Flamigo doesn't have the stats to go. As good as its typing is and as good as Scrappy is, it just doesn't have it. I'm sorry. Gothorita, we all know why it's in 11, but it's not that great. Hisuian Braviary, not a good mon in my opinion. Houndstone, it can last respects. That's about it. Next. Hydrapple went and then got traded back. Not too shocked. Inteleon, not good. Jolteon, one of my favorite Pokemon. I was considering it just because it's one of my favorites. It's one of the fastest Pokemon in the game. But overall, it just doesn't have what it takes. It doesn't have coverage. It doesn't have a lot going for it. Kingdra doesn't hit as hard as it used to. Its stats are middle across the board, like middle to good across the board, I'm pretty sure. Like, what, 85, 95s, and then 85 speed. Would have been good in rain. That's about it. Its typing's really good. Lurantis, only good for Trick Room. Not surprised. Overquill. Poison and Dark is, I would say, one of the top 10 typings in the game. Only has one weakness, has many, many resistances. Offensively, you have Dark. It gets Intimidate, it gets Swift Swim. Overquill, undervalued at 11. I think it should have went. It can do Sword Stance. It can do a number of things. It's a good Pokemon. Reggie sucks. Rabombi. Its Quiver Dance set could be good, but like, it's still a Rabombi. Salazzle, Jamie Boyd wasn't in the draft, so Salazzle did not go. As good as it is at using Fake Out and Will-O-Wisp, I don't think it can do anything else. Toxtricity. Toxtricity is a neat one. It's a favorite Pokemon in my mind for sure. It's a strong electric attacker, but pretty much only that, and it's just not fast enough to do its job. Umbreon is a great support Pokemon. I don't know why it didn't go. Vivian is an incredible support option. I do not know why it didn't go. With both Friendguard and Compound Eyes being able to like throw out Sleep Powder and Rage Powder or protect with from spread moves, like this Mon should have gone. 11 is a steal for it. Do I want to keep going down the list entirely? Yeah, sure, why not? I have 40 minutes until my work meeting. Alolan Muck, really good typing. Solid bulk. Gluttony is not what it used to be. Power of Alchemy is funny. Probably should have gone, but it's one of those Pokemon that's definitely hard to fit on a team. Barraskewda, by virtue of being so fast, I definitely think Barraskewda should have gone. It can hit pretty hard too. That's its claim to fame. Bruxish. Ooh, Bruxish. I think Bruxish is being underrated. Not only can it use Strong Jaw to throw out huge Psychic Fang damage and Wave Crash to do Wave Crash damage, but Dazzling as another option where you face this thing and you're like, can I fake it out? Can I Grassy Glide it? Can I do anything into this? Like, you have to ask those questions when you're about to face Bruxish, and that immediately puts it high on my list. It's a Titan. You can Belly Drum an Ice Shard, I think. Good job, Titan. Copperaja, Cottonee, Cyclizar, Duraludon, Haxorus. No surprises. I think Hisuian Decidueye may have gone in transfers later. If it didn't, I think this Pokemon is pretty undervalued. I think Triple Arrows is a stupid move. Scrappy is a stupid ability. Hisuian Decidueye can do it. I think it might also get Tailwind, even though it's slow. So, yeah. Hisuian Decidueye, cool mon. Hisuian Samurott. You may be thinking, oh, this thing's really good in singles. It should have gone in the VGC draft. You're wrong on that front, but you're kind of right. This Pokemon's typing is really good. Water and Dark is one of those types that we haven't seen a lot. I think the only time we saw it was on Crawdaunt and Sharpedo. Like back in... Okay, we've seen it on Greninja, but Greninja's not strong enough to take care of it. Mega Gyarados was. Water and Dark are really good defensively and offensively, right? Like, I think when I think of this Pokemon, I'm like, oh my god, have fun, Golden Go. Like, I wall you out unless you're running Thunderbolt or Dazzling Gleam, and then I just destroy you. Like, Hisuian Samurott hits like crazy, man. Sharpness is a dumb ability. And as I said, like, Ceaseless Edge is not why you want this Pokemon in VGC. You can run it. 90% of the time you'll miss. Or you can run Night Slash, which is stronger. And also stab. And doesn't miss. And has a high crit rate. Like, what? And then, like, there's Razor Shell, but there's also Aqua Cutter. Another move that doesn't miss. And it also gets Sucker Punch for priority. And Aqua Jet for priority. And let's say you want some coverage. Oh, Sacred Sword is right there to shore up any damage you may not be able to do to other Pokemon, while also simultaneously getting the sharpness boost. That's dumb. And it ignores stat changes. I think this is a Pokemon that's really good. I considered it. I think it should have gone. Good mon. Good mon. Solid all around. Should have gone. Cleavor. Unfortunately, not as good as Hisuian Samurott. Similar, but it's a bug rock type. And its sharpness move misses. So have fun. Ludicolo, I mean, being such an old head, I'm surprised Ludicolo didn't go because Water Grass is such a good typing. It gets Fake Out. But But yeah, unless you're on a rain team or needing something that can beat rain teams, Ludicolo is not great. Mismagius, I don't know why this is in 10 points. This Pokemon's ass. Berserker, another fake out mon, can get Steely Spirit to boost up your other Pokemon. Overall, not great. Not surprised it didn't go. Rabska, good Trick Rumor and Revival Blessing. A bit surprised it didn't go because of the silliness it can cause, but it's not that great of a Pokemon. Riverroom's so bad. Riverroom's so bad. Spiritom's so bad. Typhlosion can Eruption, so I'm a bit surprised that someone didn't take this as just, I'm going to Eruption everybody. Do I think it's worth a draft? Not really, but I'm surprised it didn't go. Vaporeon, big bulky water type, able to pass Wishes. I mean, Wish isn't super great in VGC, but it's an option. Gets Haze, Icy Wind. It's like discount Milotic. By discount, I mean really deep discount, but it's solid. I think it has a place on someone's team, maybe. Zoroark, regular, bad. Bisharp, why did it get taken? Bisharp is so bad. Like, you know me. Well, you may not. Bisharp is my favorite Pokemon if you don't know me, guys. Let's look at the status moves you can get. Like, if you want to run an Iron Defense set, cool, good for you, man. You're still going to die to everything, specially and physically. You're 4 times weak to fighting. It gets Stealth Rock, we don't need that. It gets Swords Dance, okay. It gets Thunder Wave and Taunt, alright. Off 70 base speed, alright. If it still got Knockoff, which it doesn't, I would be on board with this Pokemon being good still. But Night Slash being its option for a physical dark move is not where it's at. And you know, when I was playing with Bisharp back in 2015, Sucker Punch was still 80 base power. I mean, it gets Throat Chop. Maybe I'm underrating it. It does get Throat Chop. But, like, it doesn't get Knockoff. It also gets Assurance. It can do some stuff. You know, maybe I'm undervaluing Bisharp. Maybe I'm undervaluing my boy, but I don't think it's that good. I really don't. Blaziken is a Pokemon that definitely should have been drafted. Speed Boost is a stupid ability. Mix attackers are always hilarious, like I was going over with Infernape. It gets a lot of moves, but it also gets coaching, which it, after a speed boost, would love to start coaching. Does it get any silly moves that I don't know of? It gets Swords Dance. That's always good. Yeah, it can Baton Pass its speed. It doesn't get a ton, but I definitely think Blaziken is a very cool, flexible mon. Bramblegast, bad. Colossal, really bad. Dusknoir, really bad. These 2 Pokemon should be in, like, 1 point. For 1 point, they're not even worth it. Fungus, it's cute. It can Spore. I don't know how worth it is. It's stuck with Eviolite, but I do think on someone's team it would be good. Looking at you, user Cheese Boy. I'm pretty sure your name's John, but I don't want to be wrong, so I'm not going to say John, but I'm pretty sure it's John. Furret, already went over you. Glaceon can hit like a truck if you have snow. Whoever has snow should pick up Glaceon to abuse the crap out of this Pokemon's 130 base special attack. And the fact that, haha, maybe you just won't hit it. It's kind of like Articuno, but slower, but a little bit stronger. Which is like, okay. I mean, it doesn't really have great coverage moves. It's Alluring Voice. That's all you need, though. You just need to click Blizzard with this thing, and you're clear. Suine Electrode. Grass and Electric's really good for typing. Stats aren't great, but it's really fast. I think it's a solid supporter. 9 points, maybe a bit expensive. Low kick's bad. Lucario, I'm going to skip that one for a sec. Lycanroc Dusk, Medicham, Rotom's I already discussed. Tauros, I don't think that's good. Even with Intimidate, I don't think it's very good. Same with Paldean Tauros. Although I'm assuming Tauros is higher because it gets normal Sheer Force. I don't remember what Paldean Tauros gets. Probably Cudchew. Tauros. Yeah, Cudchew. So it doesn't have that little edge. Virizion, I think, is a bad Pokemon. Bad Pokemon. Now I'm going back to Lucario, and then Mandibuzz. Um, Lucario is very good. Lucario is a very good Pokemon. Lucario is a Pokemon where, similar to the Infernape I just replaced, it gets so many different moves, and Steel and Fighting is no slouch of a typing. Physically, you can run all sorts of things. You get Close Combat, you get Drain Punch if you want to set up, you get Extreme Speed, which is enormous. It gets Meteor Mash now. I'm pretty sure it also gets Bullet Punch. Like, it gets a lot of priority. Oh, what if you want to run it special? It gets Vacuum Wave, it gets Nasty Plot, it gets Swords Dance. I know that's physical, but I was just making my point that it has a lot of options. And options are the name of the game. It can't be faked out or intimidated, or if you want to run Justified, you can side beat up your stupid Lucario. Holy shit. Mandibuzz is a Pokemon that I loved back in 2017. Um, it has great bulk 110, 105, 95. That's really good, right? And then you throw an Overcoat. Can't get Spored, can't get Rage Powdered. If you're not facing that, yeah, you're probably just going to run big pecs. Um, but otherwise, Foul Play, Snarl, that's all you need offensively. And then you also get your access to... get to Iron Defense? Does it get Body Press? No. Would have seen that. It can Tailwind, it can Taunt, it gets Toxic, it can Whirlwind out anything that it doesn't want to face. It doesn't get a ton, admittedly, but Dark Flying is a stupid, stupid typing, and on a bulky, bulky mon like this, it can win games by itself. Throw out a Toxic, start roosting, you're good to go. I'm at 46 minutes. Are any of these worth talking about? Let me look real quick. No, no, no. Has Unaware, but overall not the greatest Pokemon. No, no, no. 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 I know Belly Bolt went originally and then went back, but it's Belly Bolt. It's a bulk. I think for 7 it was a steal. Klotzer, Embor hits really hard. Kind of surprised no one took Embor. Flygon, only surprised because it's popular. I think it's ass. Malamar is fun for contrary superpower, but that's about it. Bad, 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 bad. Decent. Bad. Alchemy I had. Alchemy should not be in 6 points. Decorate and not being able to go to sleep or be taunted, like one or the other. Like, this Pokemon's stupid. It should not be in 6. Alone Dugtrio, bad. Arbok, bad. Diplin, pretty bad. Ditto lets you pull off a lot of stupid stuff. I almost drafted Ditto because I didn't want people to use Ditto into me because I'm a setup-heavy team. And that's your chance to pick up Ditto. Donphan, bad. Dreadnought, unless you're a rain team, bad. Electrode, same as Hisuian Electrode, but not as good typing. Also, it's just, Flapple, Floatzel can hit pretty hard, but only good in a rain team. Frostlass, Galvantula, Golurk, hits kind of hard, but sucks. Mabostiff, okay, Mabostiff, I heard a lot about Mabostiff from last season. Yeah, 85 speed, decent bulk, intimidate, and 120 attack. Like, this Pokemon should have found its way onto someone's team for 6 points. Magneton is just faster Magnezone. It hardly hits any weaker. And it can run Eviolite. Like, it's pretty good. Magneton versus Magnezone. What's the difference? Yeah. It's a lot less bulky. That's for sure. Even with Eviolite, I'm pretty sure it's less bulky. And, I mean, you have to run Eviolite. But Magneton, it hits hard. And solid typing. Pikachu. It's Pikachu. It shouldn't be 6 points. With Light Ball and Fake Out access and Lightning Rod access, it hits really hard with Light Ball. It shouldn't be here. Poliwrath, bad. Primeape, it gets Defiant and it's slightly faster than the other Annihilate, but it's also still Primeape. It gets Rage Fist. So maybe you could run it with, like, Terra Ghost, but still Primeape. Quillfish, Sandaconda, no. Shroodle, terrible. Squawkabilly, no. Trevenant, no. Not surprised by any of these not being drafted. Blissey, okay, can we talk about this? Chansey's better than Blissey. Why is it lower? Why is it lower? And I know you're thinking, oh, it's VGC, so the Eviolite one. No, 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 no. You need the Eviolite on the Chansey to survive. Blissey's terrible. Chansey should be in, not even in 5. This Pokemon's solid. If someone only has special attackers, this Pokemon, like, is never going to get beat. Anyways. You could also run this, like, if you, I know the old Shuckle technique, but you could run, like, you could run it with Carbink, I think, and get somewhere. Anyways, I digress. Blissey, no. Bombardier, Cloyster, it should not be in 5. For Shell Smasher that can hit this hard and, like, it's a good Pokemon. Cloyster should be higher. Surprised it didn't get taken. Crabominable hits like a truck, but also needs a lot of support. Dugong, I'm just going to stop reading these out and see if anything's worth it. Skarmory, probably worth it. Steel and Flying and Iron Defense Body Press in a meta where you know what your opponent has, and if Skarmory can take control, like, Skarmory should have been drafted. Honk Crow should be higher. This Pokemon can hit like crazy. Tentacruel is worth more than 4 points. That Pokemon is solid bulk and has a lot of speed and a lot of support options in Acid Spray and Icy Wind. Definitely deserved a draft. Velusa, not as much. Maybe. Already talked about Chansey. Sucks. This Pokemon should be higher. Just by way of having competitive, this Pokemon should be higher. A little bit surprised it didn't get taken as a value pick. Knuckle Stack, the only thing it doesn't get that Garganacl does get is Wide Guard, but it's another Pokemon that can Wing Con on its own, and at 3 points, definitely should have been drafted. Bad. All bad here. Any of the 2s? Let's look at the 2s. Gumshoes is okay, can hit really hard with adaptability. Komala's neat. Yeah. And then for the 1s, let's see. Bronzer's okay. Bronzer's not terrible. I don't think I'm going to find anything else here. I know there's a 1, okay. Glimmet might be worth it. It doesn't get Mortal Spin, but Toxic Debris is funny. And if you sash it, like, woo, you can force Toxic Spikes onto their field. Not that that's super helpful, but it's VGC. Yeah, Kricketune. Good job, Kricketune. Good job, Noctowl. Alright, the real star of the 1-pointers coming up is the one, the only. I missed it. I know. Scraggy. Scraggy. You guys know how I was talking up, what's it called so much? Scrafty? Scraggy has the same typing. Dark and Fighting. Also has the same abilities. Shed Skin, Moxie, Intimidate. It also gets Fake Out. And Knockoff. And Super Fang. It gets all the same moves, and for 1 point, Fake Out, Intimidate. Throw an Eviolite on this guy, it might even be bulkier than Scrafty. Okay, probably not. Unsure. Like, come on. This little fella is the best 1 draft pick. It should never be in 1. That thing should be in, like, dude, like, if friggin', I could name so many Pokemon that it's better than Bombardier, man. This is the steal of the 1. Anyways, if you stuck around this long to hear me ramble about my thoughts, thanks for sticking around. That's all I got. It's always fun to yap. Thank you guys for the opportunity to play in Lost Woods. I'm really excited. And if you guys have any feedback, just let me know. I'm not looking.